this is Rachel here. Welcome to this week's webinar, Financial Literacy Lunch Bytes. Welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if this is not your first time, welcome as well. So I just wanted to give a little bit of framework for this week's, or rather for the webinar. Just a little bit of introduction and framework. This webinar is on a weekly recurring basis. So every week on Wednesday at 1:30, we will have this half an hour of webinar. The idea is to share bits and tidbits of information about financial, to educate you in the area of financial literacy. So I'll share the topic for today in a while. So, and I also want to introduce a little bit on what I do. So many of you may be familiar that the work that I do is based on neuro-linguistic programming, NLP for short. And in NLP, what we do is we work with the unconscious mind. And with the unconscious mind, there are programs and patterns in our everyday life that we work with. So NLP essentially, hi Shalina, thanks for joining. Yeah, okay, I need to get my thoughts on track. So in NLP, what we do is we work with individuals, we work with people, the things that we share, we work with the unconscious mind, the programs and patterns in our everyday life. We build up the positive ones like getting motivated, getting excited, getting the confidence. And we also reduce or remove the unresourceful emotions or states like fear, things that are holding us back, stuff like that. So that is the basic essence of what I do. I utilize NLP in the things that I do. And how do I apply it to financial literacy? Well, you'll find out more later as I share. And also how I utilize, how the webinar will best benefit you is through interaction. So I would like this to be an interactive session where you can feel free to comment, feedback, ask questions. I do have a Q&A session but towards the end, so I may answer all the questions towards the end. And towards the end of the session, I'll leave some time for it. So yeah. So the thing about asking question is you may notice along the way, even during the 30-minute session itself, I may ask the same question at different point in time with different intention, and the objective is to trigger your thoughts to notice what you are thinking with regards to the exercise, the information that I'm sharing, the tips and tricks that I'll be sharing with you on financial stuff. So the key thing that I would like you to participate by noticing what are your thoughts, your feelings, or even your bodily sensations, whether you feel stressed, calm, happy, or whatever it is. Notice what it is that you're thinking. And the objective of me asking questions is to peel back, similar to an onion, we peel back the layers such that we get to the deeper cause. A lot of times when people ask questions, we stay at the surface level of an issue or a thought. So the questions that I ask are essentially questions that are intended to get you to think on a deeper level, the things that may come up. And I'll cover, as I mentioned earlier, I'll cover different topics on different weeks. And whatever that you're present to, whatever that you take away from this is good enough for you. So for now, let me share my screen on the slides that I have prepared. Okay, so again, welcome to Financial Literacy Lunch Bytes. And the first thing that I want to share with you is I wanted to recap a little bit on what I have shared in the previous sessions. I know this webinar today is the 6th session of the webinar. Obviously, I'm not going to repeat what I said in the previous 5 sessions, but I'm going to do a very quick recap simply because it's a series of webinars for this week. From the month of July onwards, it will be individual topic. I will schedule it such that it is an individual standalone topic every week, so that it's easy for new joiners to catch up and to catch up when they join me every week for the session. So to recap a little bit, what I talked about in previous session is about bringing ourselves from a stage where we are at point A to point B. And of course, this being a financial literacy webinar, I am going to focus the area of finances. So in your life, think about where you are now. Notice that I've already started asking questions. So the questions are intended to trigger thoughts, Think about where you are now financially and where you want to be at the end of the day. It could be, there is no time frame that I'm going to put in. It is the time frame that is suitable for you. It could be 1 year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, end of your life, whatever it may be, whatever is in your mind is right for you. So think about where you are right now at point A and think about where you want to be at point B. And then think about how you're going to reach there. So essentially, it is a journey. And what I always share with people whom I talk to is that the point, reaching from point A, where we are now, to where we want to be at point B is never a straight line. And this is usually the process. Why? Because life happens. So, and it takes a lot of adjustment and shifting and correction to reach where we want to be. And at the end of the day, even though our goal may shift, but it is a direction that we are working towards at this point in time. There needs to be a direction, there needs to be movement, there needs to be small shifts in your everyday life. Well, ask yourself this question. Do you still want to be where you are right now, 3 months later? Is that where you want to be? 3 months later, if you were still back in your same original position as at now, 3 months later, how would you feel? Is there something that you want to put in place right now and to move you towards that direction? And that is something that we will talk about today. Very practical stuff and trigger a lot of thoughts. And of course, there are things that you can take away from this and you may want to implement in your life after this. So the premise of all that is that you are at a point A and there is a point B that you want to get to. So the second thing that I want to share with you is previously, I have gone through the 4-step framework with my attendees and very quickly going through. Step 1 is the now, which is the point A, which I mentioned just now, where you are at right now. Step 2 is how to remove blocks from your life, removal of blocks, interferences, limiting beliefs. And step 3, we talk about building resources. Look at what are the resources that you have, how you build them into your life, and how you utilize them in an effective way, and how you be aware and conscious. And even for resources that you know that you need, but you don't have them yet, how do we get them into our lives? So step 4 is the goal. It's about setting specific goals, tangible goals, with evidence of what it will be when we accomplish. We also went through a very quick visualization process on how it will look like when you have achieved it. So for today, what is the topic for today? After having gone through all that, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and after reaching the goal, after going through all that, so what is today's topic? Today's topic is on accountability. So, and I want to talk a little bit about this because it is all very good and well to sit around and talk about things and make plans. But if things doesn't happen, things doesn't shift, it probably doesn't make sense. And what you have just done or what you have just learned is all a waste of your time, right? Think about the beginning of the year. Did you make goals? Most of us, we would have made goals at the beginning of the year. most of us, not all, but most. And think about that goal at the beginning of the year. Today is, what's today's date? 20th, or what's today's date? I think it's towards the end of June. So by today, half of the year, 6 months have passed. And think about the goal that is at the beginning of the year. What have you accomplished, and how far have you gone in that goal, be it financial wise, or some people want to lose weight, some people want to achieve other things. Where are you in relation to that goal? So to me, the little trick that I want to share with you today is accountability. And to me, that is a very big thing between making or breaking your achievement of the goal. Whether you make or break your goal, it depends on accountability. It is, okay, so I want to share a personal story. With that, I want to show this. These are two little, it's actually very small, it's mini, it's just on my table right there. It's very, very mini, small. In Chinese, we call it putawong. So I really have no idea, I'm sorry, I really have no idea what they call it in English, but it's essentially those small toys where they put on the table, and because the bottom is rounded, and I think they put in magnets or something heavy at the bottom where it doesn't topple. There's no way when you tilt it down, it will bounce back up. When you tilt it down, it will bounce back up. So these two toys have been with me since the beginning of days. So, and why am I talking about this? So I'm talking about this because it is about also a little bit about how I started my journey for expense concierge solution. So these two toys actually reminded me whenever I feel down. Entrepreneurship sometimes is not the same way that point A to point B is not a direct line. Entrepreneurship sometimes is not all fun and excitement. There are downtimes as well. So at times when I feel down, these two models never fail to remind me to bounce back up. How? Simply because when I tilt them down, there's no way they stay down. And because of the way they are structured, gravity doesn't work in this sense. When I move them down, eventually it bounces back up. No matter what happens, it bounces them up. So that serves as a reminder to me in my journey to bounce back up whenever I face challenges. And how do I do that? I get myself accountable to people around me. And it's not just to anybody, because and I'm sure some of you understand this as well. When you talk to people, it takes a while to find people that you can work with. That takes a while to find people that has the same wavelength as you, people whom you know that will support you no matter what you do, and whom you can be accountable to, and they are there to help you along the way. So yeah, I will talk a little bit more about the type of people to look for as to be accountable to. But in my journey, this is a very important part, where because there are people that I'm accountable to, because there are people that support me, there are people that I can go to when I have issues, when I need clarity. They do not necessarily have all the answers, but they are there for me to speak it out, to talk with. And if you haven't realized this before, whenever you talk to yourself, you are always right. Right? Whenever you think of something, okay, I'm a very ID person, meaning I talk a lot to myself. When I'm working at a computer, I will speak to myself, and inside me there's Rachel A, Rachel B. I used to call it Rachel Angel and Rachel Devil, where we will keep talking to each other. And then I realized that either they will keep quarreling, or when I talk to myself, I'm always right. Correct? There's no one else to dispute, and I am always correct when I talk to myself, and when I think in a certain direction. So with another person, it helps me to bounce off ideas and to speak it out. And even in the process of speaking out, sometimes I get the support that I need, and I find the answer myself. So that's my own journey when it comes to accountability. And I want to emphasize this. There is no failure in life, only feedback. And I want to add on, there's no failure, only feedback and learning experiences. So when we think about the goals, perhaps, that you have set at the beginning of the year, if you have not done anything about it yet, fine, it's over. 6 months has passed. There's no point beating yourselves up. There's no point stopping yourselves from doing things. But it's about thinking how you can move forward from here. So remember, there's no failure in life. There's only feedback. So the feedback is, if you have not done anything for the past 6 months, are you still going to stay in the same position, stay where you are right now, and then 6 months later, end of the year, you will still be in the same position as where you are? Is that where you want to be? That's my question to you. Think about it. If not, what are you going to do about it? Right? So coming back to talk about accountability, I want to talk a little bit about what accountability is and who are the people that you can work with to who you can look for accountability from. So firstly, I want you to think of the people that you can engage. And when I say engage, I don't mean that you have to pay them. You may not have to. Of course, there are lots of great coaches around. You can, and there are very good accountability partners as well. And so there's engagement. You can engage people, coaches, or mentors around you, perhaps your parents, your spouse, your partner, even your children, if they're old enough to understand. It's not a level of, again, remember that accountability is not about them giving advice. Accountability is about you being answerable, you being responsible, and responsible enough to let them know what are the things that you want to achieve, and you inform them and you go back to them with regards to the outcome. And I've seen people who decided to get accountability from a whole group of friends. So what they did was they blast on their FB page and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Well, it works. It works and it doesn't work. So the good thing is, well, you are sending out intentions, telling everybody that this is what you're going to do. But the bad thing is there's nobody that's coming back to check in with you on your progress. So it's no point having an accountability partner that doesn't check in on you, right? So if you are going to let yourself go easy, and you know that you're going to, just tell someone that, hey, you're going to do this, and you know that there are somebody who will not come back and hold you to your word and get you to finish the task that you have committed to, then there's no point in looking for that person, because the person is not going to help you, right? So find someone who you can trust, who you can support, whom you can get support from, and whom will be in a position to hold you accountable. And with that, I also want to talk a little bit about the why. Because your motivation for doing what you want to do is important as well. If your motivation is not strong enough, it will not push you towards your goal. So at this point in time, whatever goal that you are thinking about, think about your why as well. And especially when it comes to a financial sense, can you imagine the financial situation that you are in now? It may not be a bad situation. Actually, to me, there's no good or bad lah. Even debt, or regardless of whether in debt or not, there's no good or bad situation. It's just a situation is our behaviors is the consequence and the result of our actions. So to shift the consequence is very easy. We just need to shift our actions. Yeah. So that's how things work. It's the law of nature. It's very easy. Whatever result or consequence that you want to have, you want to shift the results, you want to shift the consequence, you just need to shift your behavior and your mindsets and your habits. And from there, things will shift. So yeah, so basic thing is to get your why big enough to be able to understand why why you want to work towards that financial goal, and then engage somebody that you can be accountable with. And the second thing is I want to quickly move on because I am very conscious of the time and I want to keep it to the 30 minutes window period. So the second thing is journal. And this is something that I actually implement in my own life. You may ask that, you know, journal is an individual thing. How does it constitute accountability to other people? So I know I talk about accountability in finding someone that can support you and get you to commit to and check in on you as well. So journal can be done two ways. Firstly, it's written journal. You can write down journal as a record of what you have done, what you have committed to yourself. Or secondly, you can do first one is written, right? I said written, right? So the second one is a video journal. And that's what I do because sometimes I feel that my mind works faster, runs faster than my action. So my mind thinks faster than when I write. So, and I find it not fast enough, so I use video. So whatever that comes to my mind, I'll just say out and I'll keep the recording of it as a reminder to myself or to my mentor so that, you know, I commit to this is what I want to do as a video journal. Yeah, so these are things that you can implement in your real life to keep yourself accountable to your task at hand, especially when it comes to financial sense. If you have heard of the power of compounding, well, I'm not here. That's another topic by itself, so that's not something that I want to go deep in. But the power of compounding works with very quickly. It works with the number of time that you have. So imagine if you don't start taking actions, or rather, maybe I should do it the other way around. When you start taking actions, positive actions on a day-by-day basis, and then you implement something and that power of compounding takes place, it is a powerful tool that you can utilize. And 6 months from now, you will thank yourself from taking action, you know. And yeah, that's something as well. When you take action, who does it benefit? It benefits yourself. It doesn't benefit me. So it doesn't matter to me whether you take action or not. But end of the day, you benefit from the action that you take in your own life. So think of that shift. Think of that small shift that you can implement already straight away, and think of things that you can do to help yourself to be accountable to other people, right? Okay, so engage people around you, people whom you know that you can be accountable to, and to have a journal. You know, you can be a written, a video, you can send it to someone else, you can send it to your mentor to keep yourself accountable, and have periodic check-ins. Implement those periodic check-ins. It can be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. As a general guideline, I recommend weekly, simply because I've been through it and I know what it is like to, you know, skip or miss a day. So I give myself the allowance to remember. Just now I mentioned there's no failure, only feedback. So in the event that I implement something that I want to do on a daily basis that I want to do today, but I didn't do it today, in a financial sense, maybe, you know, I could start keeping my receipts for everything. Very, very small things. And remember, small things goes a long way. So one of the tricks that I teach to the people, my attendees, is, you know, use your credit card. Of course, pay all your credit card bills, but use your credit card for all your expenses. So the end of the month, you have the statement to review what you spend on. And that is how I've taught a lot of people to track without really tracking their expenses. So yeah, if there's something that I decide to implement and I miss one day or I miss a week, then I will allow myself to come back up and just notice what went wrong, and I will avoid it, not do it again, right? So have periodic check-ins with your mentor, your coach, your spouse, the person that you have engaged to check in on you. You know, set periodic check-ins, and also celebrate wins. Lastly, be in a position where you don't just, you know, a lot of people, we are very tough on ourselves. We want to be in a position where we strive for excellence, we strive for perfection. But so today I want to emphasize the fact that we are all human. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail. So the thing is to come up and not allow yourself to be beaten by failures or things that we may have missed. So celebrate wins in your life. You know, every single, for example, if you have hit that savings target that you have, you could perhaps set a, for example, accountability wise, you could set a small task today, go into your bank account, the bank account where your salary gets credited, set a recurring gyro that, for example, if your salary gets credited on the 31st, set a transaction on the 1st of the month to transfer 10% of your salary to another bank account which you don't have a ATM card for, right? So if you don't see it, you won't spend it. Yeah. So when you manage to do that every month, well, unless your salary is on a weekly basis, and I know some people do. So regardless on a weekly or monthly basis, when your salary comes in, just transfer. It's automatic. Just make it automatic so that you don't have to physically remember to do it or mentally remember to do it. And when you do it, celebrate your wins. And when I say celebrate, it doesn't mean go to a fancy restaurant. And here I also want you to think about what is important to you. What is something that you can celebrate? It could be spending time watching a good movie, you know, drinking a glass of wine or a glass of whiskey. That'd be cool. And what else? Anything that you can celebrate. It may involve money or it may not. Know that quality times, happy times may not always involve money. And I don't advocate scrimping and saving to budget, unless that is something that you really want to do to reach your goal very, very, very fast. That is, well, your decision, but celebrate wins. You know, when you reach a goal, when you perhaps set that recurring transaction every month or every week, and when it's done, you do something to celebrate. You know, go for a walk, go out with your friends, go for quality time, stuff like that, you know, celebrate wins. Make it simple, easy, and foolproof to do any task that you do. So what I'm saying is make small shifts, set a goal, make small shifts in your life, and get yourself accountable to someone. Remember that if you don't do anything about it, you will still remain where you are, be it financially or in any other areas of your life 6 months down the road, right? So now, I want to have a very, very fast exercise. I want you to take time to think of 2 persons whom you can be accountable to. 2 persons. 3 seconds to think about it. 2 persons that first comes to your mind whom you can be accountable to. And these 2 persons needs to be, of course, strict with you. Not strict in the sense of discipline, but strict in the sense that they will remember to check in with you so that you are accountable to them, to check in with you on your progress. And also they must be contactable, obviously, if they are not able to contact you. But you know, internet is so commonly used right now. Even if they're overseas, the other end of the world, different time zones, still works, doesn't matter. So, you know, why 2 persons? Because I want you to do this. Set this goal. If the 2 persons know each other, very good. Tell them at the same time, put 3 of you into a WhatsApp group and announce to both of them so that if one fails to check in with you, the other one still does. And they act as your support group. That doesn't sound very, it reminds me of the, you know, AA support group. But, well, not in that sense, but support group that is cheerleading you on to your goals that you want to achieve. So this is the exercise for this week.